Hey TMFG community, Carlo Cansino here with John Iaconetti. And in today's Ask TMFG episode, John will be discussing some changes that are happening that may affect real estate transactions in 2023. So if you do like our content, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a thumbs up if you like our content, or provide us with some feedback in the comments section. The real estate market has seen its up and downs over the last few years. The government has seen this and taken it into their own hands. There's a lot of changes that have been implemented that could impact how real estate transactions are done or if they're done. John's going to go into a little more detail about them. John?
Perfect. Thank you, Carlo. So just like you mentioned, 2023 has rung in some new changes coming to that real estate market that you did mention. I'm going to walk through a couple of those changes with you today. And first, we'll get started with the fun one. A new account has been legislated in Canada. Prior to this, there was the RSPs, tax-free savings accounts, and RESPs that were registered by the government, among many. But there's going to be a new one that is added to the list. That is an FHSA, or First Home Savings Account. Now, the legislation is going to pass for this on January 1st of 2023. For it to be launched, it could be launched as early as April 1st, 2023. We're still waiting on that final date. But essentially, what a First Home Savings Account will be, it's essentially going to act like a hybrid between an RSP and a tax-free savings account. So contributions can go into the FHSA, and they can be tax deductible like they are in an RSP. So you would actually get to save money on your taxes based on those contributions. But you can also withdraw them like a TFSA, entirely tax-free, not have to pay that back at all, if that is going towards a first-time home purchase. So there are rules around this. $8,000 per year can be contributed to the FHSA, and a lifetime limit of $40,000 can be added to that account. So that's just some preliminary news about that account coming up. And as soon as it's become eligible for Canadians, we'll do a much more detailed video on it, just outlining all the pros and cons to it. Second, there is the Multigenerational Home Renovation Tax Credit. So that was offered by the government to provide some sort of incentive for Canadians that are doing major home renovations that's going to allow for a family member to be living in that residence. So that tax credit is going to be equal to 15% of your eligible expenses, up to $50,000 that a Canadian would spend. That will allow for a secondary dwelling to permit a family member to be living in that property. So let's say you completely renovate your basement to have a parent living there with you, or a child. Those expenses could be eligible for this tax credit. Third is the anti-flipping rule. Now, this also comes into effect on January 1st, and it's designed to reduce speculative demand in the real estate marketplace to help cool, excessive price growth. Principal residence exemption will not be available on the sale of your home if you've owned it for less than 12 months. So there are some certain exceptions. Instead, the gain that you earn on and selling your home within that 12-month period would actually end up becoming 100% taxable as business income. So what this is trying to do is trying to slow down people from constantly flipping their home, earning a capital gain, and then doing so in a tax-free basis, essentially ringing up sales in the real estate market and ringing up prices of the homes as well. Fourth, this is something that's become a bit more prominent in the news more recently. It's the foreign home buyers ban. So anyone who's neither a Canadian citizen nor a permanent resident will not be able to purchase residential property in Canada as of January 1st for 2 years due to this rule. The ban also includes non-Canadian company owners, which regulations say will prevent them from avoiding these prohibitions. So not only non-Canadian residents, but also those that own, non-Canadian residents that own businesses from buying residential properties. And this doesn't seem, or may not seem too significant, but actually the Bank of Canada says roughly about 20% of recent home purchases have been that of non-residents. So having that reduction in sales, that 20% reduction in sales, hopefully as well begin to cool the housing market, which we've already begun to see due to the interest rate hikes as well. So these are the four main changes that are going to be occurring in 2023. And some for the better, maybe some for the worse on how that impacts the real estate market. But essentially what the goal here was is to cool down that residential market to make it more affordable for Canadians to live.
Thanks, John. Yeah, thanks for summarizing there. I was just going to say that, yeah, the majority of those changes sound like the intention is to try to cool down the price increases to make it more affordable for those first-time home buyers. So one of those changes they're making are making home buying a little more accessible for that first-time home buyer by giving them vehicles that they can be saving into that's not as punitive from a tax perspective. So thanks again, John, for that information. If you have any questions or would like to discuss in more detail how these changes will affect you, again, please don't hesitate to contact us at the McClelland Financial Group. Happy to have a conversation with you about that in more detail. That's our episode for today. Again, if you do like our content, don't hesitate. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a comment if there are things that you'd like to know about or you just want to give feedback about our videos. Or if you're a little bit shy, give us a thumbs up. Until next time, I'm Carlo Cansino.
I'm John Iaconetti.
And this has been Ask TMFG.